Hello and welcome. Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Gautam Roy, and coming up in the next hour, international agency Moody's raises India's 2024 GDP forecast to 6.8 from 6.1%. The increase in estimate is attributed to India's robust economic performance in 2023. Shehbaz Sharif is sworn in as Pakistan's 24th Prime Minister, taking over the reins of the cash-strapped country for a second time since 2022. Russia summons German ambassador over leaked audio. The Kremlin claims German military discussed plans to strike Russian territory in a wiretap. And for the first time ever, India's women's and men's table tennis teams qualify for the Olympics through the World Team Rankings. Well, global financial services agency Moody's on Monday raised its forecast for India's GDP growth in 2024 from 6.1 to 6.8%, an increase of 0.7%. The agency's global macroeconomic outlook for 2024 says there's robust manufacturing activity and infrastructure spending. This has resulted in optimism in the country's economy. Our Delhi Bureau reports.
The Indian economy is performing above expectations. Global rating agencies Moody's on March 4 raised India's growth forecast for 2024 calendar year to 6.8%. This is a 0.7% increase from its earlier estimate of 6.1%. The economy has been doing well in turbulent times, and now that momentum is only going to increase since the global economic headwinds are expected to fade. Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates, who was in India recently, praised the economy.
The strength of India today, which in terms of economic growth and innovation, is very exciting. That's why companies like Microsoft has 25,000 people here that do absolutely amazing work.
It is clear that the environment to do amazing work has vastly improved. India's GDP grew 8.4% in the fourth quarter of 2023, making the overall calendar year 2023 growth number a robust 7.7%. Moody's global macroeconomic outlook for 2024 said India is likely to remain the fastest growing among G20 economies over the forecast horizon, with an estimated growth rate of 6.4% for 2025. The Chinese economy, on the other hand, is struggling to find new investments in the semiconductor industry. China is struggling to come out of its COVID-induced slump. Jobs are hard to come by, and firms are exploiting workers with excessively long working hours, something the modern Chinese college graduate is unhappy with.
College graduates still have a very certain type of expectation of the type of occupation that they're going to lead upon graduation. And so instead of that, I think from a top-down level, the government could do more in regulating companies in stopping the 996 work culture.
India, on the other hand, is poised to power the next generation of growth through semiconductor manufacturing that is taking a quantum leap through favorable government policy. India aims to produce for the world by 2029.
With these 4 plants, we will be practically having a capacity to manufacture about 80 million chips a day. So it's a significant capacity. And yes, a lot of this will be consumed in our own domestic manufacturing, because our own electronics manufacturing is also growing at a rapid pace. We will also have export opportunities, because this is a global industry.
The Finance Ministry projects India to become the third largest economy in the world with a GDP of $5 trillion in 3 years. The digital economy is speeding up the pace of transactions, and UPI is now available in 8 countries, including France and Greece in Europe, the UAE, Singapore, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka and Mauritius. Recent data of the National Sample Survey Office suggests Indians are spending more in consumer durables, a sign of greater affluence. Moodys too notes that robust goods and services tax collections, rising auto sales, consumer optimism and double-digit credit growth suggest urban consumption demand remains resilient. With elections in several countries, including India, Moodys says businesses are responding to evolving geopolitical dynamics by reorganizing supply chains and capital sources. Industrial and trade policies of several countries are intertwined with foreign policy. If there's any barometer that's been buoyant, India's stock markets continue their bull run, hitting new lifetime highs on the way. Both the Sensex and the Nifty ended in the green amid volatile trade on Monday. Bureau Report, DD India.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated and dedicated to the nation as well as laid foundation stones of multiple development projects related to power, rail and roads worth more than 6.74 billion rupees in the South Indian city of Adilabad in Telangana on Monday. Addressing the gathering, the Prime Minister reiterated the mantra of the nation's development through the development of the states. He said that with a better economy, trust in the country grows and states also benefit from that as they get investment.
केंद्र की हमारी सरकार राज्यों के विकास से देश के विकास के मंत्र पर चलती है। इसी तरह जब देश की अर्थव्यवस्था मजबूत होती है तो देश के प्रति विश्वास बढ़ता है, तो राज्यों को भी इसका लाभ मिलता है, राज्यों में भी निवेश बढ़ता है। आप लोगों ने देखा है कि पिछले 3-4 दिनों से पूरी दुनिया में भारत की तेज विकास दर, इसकी चर्चा हो रही है। दुनिया में भारत ऐसी इकलौती ओनली बड़ी अर्थव्यवस्था बनकर उभरा है जिसने पिछले क्वार्टर में 8.4% की दर से विकास किया है।
After inaugurating various projects in Adilabad, the PM also addressed a rally where he spoke on the Government of India's welfare schemes for the tribal people.
आदिवासियों के विकास के लिए देश में अलग मंत्रालय बनाने का काम बीजेपी सरकार ने ही किया था। आजादी की लड़ाई में जनजातीय समाज के योगदान को समर्पित म्यूजियम बनाए जा रहे हैं। ये काम भी केंद्र की बीजेपी सरकार ने शुरू किया है। हैदराबाद में जो म्यूजियम बन रहा है, हमने उसका नाम रामजी गोंड के नाम पर रखा है। बीजेपी आदिवासी कल्याण को, आदिवासी गौरव को सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता देते हुए काम कर रही है। आदिवासी समाज में भी जो लोग अति पिछड़े हैं, जो अब तक विकास से वंचित हैं, उनके लिए बीजेपी सरकार ने पीएम जनमन योजना शुरू की।
And in Tamil Nadu, Prime Minister Modi was felicitated by the state's BJP President K. Annamalai and other party leaders at a public event in Chennai. Addressing the event, Prime Minister Modi strongly criticized dynastic politics.
परिवारवादी पार्टियां सिर्फ और सिर्फ अपने भविष्य की सोचती हैं, जबकि मोदी देश के भविष्य का सोचकर काम कर रहा है। परिवारवादी पार्टियों के समय देश के 18,000 गांव में बिजली नहीं थी। देश के 2.5 करोड़ से ज्यादा घर अंधेरे में थे। आप भी जानते हैं 21वीं सदी की बहुत बड़ी चुनौती एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी है। आज हमारी सरकार इस दिशा में भी तेजी से काम कर रही है।
And Prime Minister Modi also visited Bharatiya Navikiya Vidyut Nigam Limited at Karapakkam in Tamil Nadu on Monday, in a historic milestone marking entry into the vital second stage of India's three-stage nuclear program. Prime Minister Modi witnessed commencement of core loading at India's first indigenous fast breeder reactor at Karapakkam.
भारत अपनी ऊर्जा जरूरतें पूरी करने के लिए कितने बड़े स्केल पर काम कर रहा है। कुछ दिन पहले ही मैंने काकरापार में स्थापित 1400 मेगावाट की क्षमता वाले 2 नए रिएक्टर राष्ट्र को समर्पित किए। आज ही तेलंगाना से अनेक पावर प्रोजेक्ट का शिलान्यास, उद्घाटन और लोकार्पण हुआ है। इसी कालखंड में तेलंगाना में 1600 मेगावाट के थर्मल पावर प्लांट का लोकार्पण हुआ है। झारखंड में 1300 मेगावाट के थर्मल पावर प्लांट का लोकार्पण हुआ है। यूपी में 1600 मेगावाट के थर्मल पावर प्लांट का शिलान्यास हुआ है। यूपी में ही 300 मेगावाट के सोलर पावर प्लांट का शिलान्यास हुआ है। राजस्थान में भी बड़े सोलर पावर प्लांट का शिलान्यास हुआ है। यूपी में ही अल्ट्रा मेगा रिन्यूएबल पार्क का शिलान्यास हुआ है। हिमाचल में हाइड्रो पावर प्रोजेक्ट का शिलान्यास हुआ है। छत्तीसगढ़ के रायपुर में 4G इथेनॉल प्लांट का शिलान्यास हुआ है। यूपी के नोएडा में सीवेज ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट से निकले पानी से ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन बनाने का काम शुरू हुआ है। ये मैं 50 दिन का हिसाब आपको दे रहा हूं। ये 50 दिन में सिर्फ एनर्जी के क्षेत्र में क्या काम हुआ है, मैं इसकी बात कर रहा हूं। विकास कैसे होता है, स्केल कितना बड़ा होता है, इसका अंदाज देश को आएगा।
Well, Prime Minister Modi observed the commencement of the core loading of India's 500 megawatt E-prototype fast breeder reactor at the Karapakkam nuclear complex, as we just informed you. Now, this event, managed by Bhavani, that's the Bharatiya Navikiya Vidyut Nigam Limited, signifies a significant achievement in India's nuclear power journey. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya spoke with KV Suresh Kumar, CMD of Bhavani. Listen in.
We are right now in Bhavani's Kalpakkam Center, which is, putting India in world map. Why I'm saying that? Because they have the first fast breeder reactor, which is currently operationalized. And I have with me the CMD of Bhavani. Sir, tell us more about this.
In the second stage of nuclear reactors, we use the fast reactors for converting the spent fuel from the first stage reactor, and the produce electricity, as well as we consume. We produce more fuel than what it is consumed. So if you take 100 kg of plutonium is used for electricity production, we approximately get around 110 kg of the fuel. So that way we can sustain the reactor. So in nutshell, if you have 10 reactors operating in the country of the second stage reactor, every year we will get fuel equivalent to one more reactor. This reactor has got some more advantages. It can use the thorium as the blanket, which can be converted to uranium, thereby producing the fuel for the third stage reactors. Right. Then this reactor has got a very high efficiency compared to the first stage reactor, wherein the efficiency is only 30%, whereas the second stage reactor we have got around 40% efficiency. And third and most important thing is, this reactor has got highest safety standards.
I think Russia is the only country right now currently which has the capability of a fast breeder reactor, and this is what starts. You guys are starting a movement in India's electricity generation and at the same time becoming net zero by 2070?
Yes. Actually, many countries have tried, but presently they have shut down the reactor because they wanted to go for almost the design requirement as well as the safety standard as what we have for this reactor. So they are doing a lot of research on this one. At present, only Russia is having commercial reactor, and when this reactor goes commercial, we will be the second country after Russia to have a commercial reactor producing the electricity of this magnitude.
I wanted to show you guys that it's not just one person who is responsible to start this huge revolution in India's energy journey. You see this whole lot of people who are here, they are part of this revolution, starting what many will call India's next gen in nuclear energy. With camera person Janardhan, this is Tapush Bhattacharya for DD India from Kalpakam in Tamil Nadu.
And still to come on DD India News are emergency imposed in Haiti after violent clashes in Port-au-Prince, leading to 2 prison breaks as a gangster gives a call to oust the country's Prime Minister. Hope for a truce in Gaza before Ramadan dims as Israel seeks clear answers from Hamas on key issues before participating in the Paris peace talks. Australia is hosting a 3-day special ASEAN summit from Monday in Melbourne.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on Monday launched acing development of innovative technologies with IDEX or Aditi. That's a scheme to promote innovations in critical and strategic defence technologies at DEF Connect 2024 in New Delhi. DD India's Nandita Dagar reports.
Under the Aditi scheme, startups are eligible to receive grants of up to Rs 25 crores from the Indian Defence Ministry for their research, development and innovation efforts in defence technology. In the first edition of Aditi, 17 challenges have been launched, 13 from the military and 4 from the Defence Space Agency.
कि हमारी सरकार डिफेंस प्रोडक्शन सेक्टर को सेल्फ रिलायंट बनाने के लिए सदैव प्रयासरत है। हम लगातार पॉजिटिव इंडिजिनाइजेशन लिस्ट जारी करते चले जा रहे हैं, जिसके तहत हम कुछ ऐसे प्लेटफार्म एंड इक्विपमेंट्स को आइडेंटिफाई कर रहे हैं जिनको हम भारत में ही बना सकते हैं और उनका उत्पादन कर सकते हैं।
The 11th edition of the Defence India Startup Challenge or DISC was also opened at the DEF Connect 2024 function in Delhi. The DISC 11 introduces 22 problem statements aimed at addressing critical defence challenges, inviting innovators to propose innovative solutions.
हमारे युवा भारत को रक्षा क्षेत्र में आत्मनिर्भर सेल्फ रिलायंट बनाने के लिए पूरी तरह से सशक्त हैं, मजबूत हैं और सरकार उनके साथ कदम से कदम मिलाकर आगे चल रही है।
DEF Connect 2024 witnessed the launching of a rolling IDEX internship program aimed at nurturing young talent and providing them with hands-on experience and mentorship in defense innovation. This initiative seeks to groom the next generation of innovators and equip them with the skills and knowledge necessary to contribute effectively to the defense innovation ecosystem. In New Delhi, this is Nandita Dagar for DD India.
Let's now take you across to our guest to talk more about these sort of efforts that the government has been making to ensure that India becomes more and more self-reliant in its defence. Commodore Mukesh Bhargav, retired, joins us, Director Defence Innovators Industry Association. Good evening to you. Commodore, what do you make of the latest step that the government has taken? It's one of many, a series of steps that the government has been taking to ensure that India becomes more and more self-reliant, Atmanirbhar, where India's defense is concerned.
Thank you, Gautam. A very good evening to you and to the listeners. As you rightly said, government is taking large number of steps to promote the innovation and the harnessing the startups and the technology innovation capability of the youngsters in the country by giving various platforms. It started with sometime in 2018 when the Defense Innovation
Yes,
Organization was
IDEX.
set up. Defense Innovation Organization, which started funding an initiative of the Ministry of Defense called Innovation for Defense Excellence, or IDEX. So from 2018 to now, in the 5 years plus, IDEX, there are various challenges that have been launched, and this today was the 11th such challenge which has been launched. Now, what are these challenges? These challenges are the problems that have been faced by the three services as well as the public sector undertakings. The problems that they have not been able to solve within their own capability, and they're looking for how the innovators, the startups, the MSMEs, and the knowledge base of this young India technocrats, how can that be harnessed to bring to bear upon these problem statements? So what happens is the MOD, through the various services headquarters as well as the public sector undertakings, brings out a problem statement document every few months. As I mentioned, this is the 11th in 5 years. So you can say almost 2 challenges per year on an average have been launched. In these problem statements, the industry is given a challenge that this is the problem that I'm facing. Do you have a solution? And the industry is assured that they would be given funding. Now, this is the most crucial part of the IDEX.
Right.
And the Aditi,
and Aditi, there's a technology
which
watch tool as well. What exactly is that?
Yeah. So, a technology watch tool is a very important segment, because what happens is most of the time when the industry brings up a product, it does not really match with the technical requirement, the specification, and the actual operational capability enhancement of the armed forces. So there's always been a gap. To bridge this gap, the government has come out with this tool, which is basically bridging the gap between what is required and the aspirations of the industry, and what is the capability of the industry to match that. So once this tool is available, this will bridge this gap and also make the industry aware about how they need to augment their existing capability to meet up the aspiration and the requirements of the armed forces to be at par and even better than their adversaries, so that the industry can develop this ecosystem and develop the technologies which are required for the sovereignty and for protection of our borders with our own capability.
All right. And do you feel that do you feel that these sort of challenges that are given to startups and others, MSMEs, these can lead to ensuring that India not only becomes more self-reliant where its defense is concerned, but also state of the art?
Definitely. One would understand that we have been, for the last 7 decades plus, been importing most of the defense equipments. So what happens is, when you import, there are 2 problems that come up. One, you do not get the best in the technology that is available globally, because no foreign country would ever part with the state-of-the-art technology which is preserved of their own country to another country, even if they are a friendly country to India. And second is, when you buy from abroad, the moment it becomes obsolete, and you know the technology, the high-end technology, there is a life cycle of just about 5 to 7 years. And within that period, you need to upgrade it. And when you need to upgrade it, you have to go back again to the foreign OEM, who charges a bomb and never gives you what you really need. So what you get is what they are happy to give, not what our armed forces actually need. So, like it is said, the birth of a great nation, there are no midwives.
Right.
Your country, India is destined to become great under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, and it cannot achieve that greatness by buying equipment for defense from abroad. So there is no other alternative but to develop our own technology, our own equipment, and for that, this innovation for defense excellence and Aditi, the scheme which have been launched, are absolute right direction steps.
Yes, let's hope that it provides us the kind of results, the outcomes that are expected from it as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Commodore Bhargav. Now, in the latest news coming in from the US, its Supreme Court has ruled on Monday that former President Donald Trump should appear on the ballot in Colorado in a decision that follows months of debate over whether the frontrunner of the GOP nomination violated the insurrectionist clause included in the 14th Amendment. The opinion is a massive victory for Donald Trump, vanquishing one of the many legal threats that have both plagued and animated his campaign against President Joe Biden. Now, Colorado is among the 15 U.S. states and a territory participating in primary elections on Super Tuesday. Despite the legal setback, Trump maintains his, in fact now a legal win, Trump maintains his position as the leading contender for the Republican nomination to challenge Democratic President Joe Biden in the 5th of November U.S. elections.
Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley faces a critical moment on Super Tuesday as she attempts to thwart Donald Trump's bid for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. Super Tuesday, occurring on 5th of March, involves 15 states and one US territory holding their primary contests, with a significant portion of delegates at stake for both parties. Trump's dominance in key states like California and Texas poses a formidable challenge for Haley, who lacks a clear path to defeating him.
With your help, we will win big on Super Tuesday, and this November, Virginia is going to tell crooked Joe Biden, you're fired!
Despite Trump's strong showing in previous contests and his projection to win a substantial number of delegates on Super Tuesday, Haley's campaign aims to at least slow his momentum. On Sunday, U.S. presidential candidate Nikki Haley won the Washington, D.C. Republican primary. This is her first victory in the nominating process and a symbolic win for the former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Haley vowed on Sunday to stay in the race to the White House and urged voters in Vermont to support her in the state's upcoming primary elections.
You know, the media has been all over themselves trying to figure out why I'm not getting out of this race. Why does she keep fighting? What's she doing? Well, first of all, when 70% of Americans say they don't want Donald Trump or Joe Biden, yes, I'm going to keep on fighting. I think I've thrown out the idea that they think I'm running for vice president. That's not happening. If this was about my political career, I would have been out a long time ago. The reason I'm doing this is for my kids and your kids and grandkids.
Colorado is among the 15 U.S. states and a territory participating in primary elections on Super Tuesday. Despite the legal setback, Trump maintains his position as the leading contender for the Republican nomination to challenge Democratic President Joe Biden in the November 5th U.S. election. The intricacies of mail-in ballots, open primaries, and geographical spread of voting across different time zones add further complexity to the electoral landscape on Super Tuesday. Bureau Report, DD India.
French lawmakers are meeting for a final vote to include the right to abortion into the constitution, a world first welcomed by women's rights groups and criticized by anti-abortion groups. Abortion rights are more widely accepted in France than in the United States and many other countries, with polls showing around 80% of French people back the fact that abortion is legal. The U.S. Supreme Court's 2022 decision to reverse the Roe v. Wade ruling that recognized women's constitutional right to abortion prompted activists to push France to become the first country to clearly protect the right in its basic laws. And to talk about it further, we're joined by Aditi India's Ross Cullen from Paris. Good evening to you, Ross. How did the vote go on, or how's it going rather, on making abortion a constitutional right in France?
Well, here at the Chateau of Versailles, more than 900 parliamentarians are inside getting ready for casting their final vote. Now, they've already voted in their respective houses on this, in the lower house and in the upper house, about how they want to enshrine the right to access an abortion into the French constitution. But now we have several speeches taking place in the building behind me, the former royal palace. They were led off by the Prime Minister, Gabriel Attal, who said, "We have a moral debt to women. Today we can change history." Then the different leaders of different groups are having their chance to speak for around 5 minutes each, and then after that they will be casting the vote. If 60% of the more than 900 parliamentarians behind me do vote in favour, then that is it. Emmanuel Macron, the president, on Friday is planning to sign that constitutional change into the French text.
And if that happens, what does this really mean for the larger global cause of strengthening women's reproductive and other rights in the face of rising right-wing opposition as well?
Well, it's an easy win for the government because there are just so many MPs who are in favour of this change as well. More than 80% of the public believe that it is the right thing to do. Abortion has been legal in France since 1975, but the activists and lawmakers from the left, the centre and the right did say that because they're in the United States in 2022, the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, that constitutional right to access abortion services in the US, then they felt they needed to protect it constitutionally here in France. It wasn't under threat, but they felt that that kind of move could potentially happen perhaps further down the line in France, and so they wanted to guard against it. And the president, Emmanuel Macron, is in favour, the previous Prime Minister, Elizabeth Borne, the current one, Gabriel Attal, all of them in favour, along with lawmakers of all different spectrums. And so that is very likely to pass, almost a formality, because of the huge numbers who are in favour. And Emmanuel Macron says he wants it done on Friday because that is a symbolic day, March the 8th being International Women's Day.
Well, yes, certainly. And if in case things change and you have the right wing taking the reins in France, it'll be all the more difficult for them to change this one, as has happened in the US through the Supreme Court. Now, thanks a lot for joining us, Ross from Paris. Now, in West Asia, Israeli forces operated in Ramallah for 6 hours in one of their biggest raids in the West Bank. Amid escalating tensions, both Israel and Hamas are facing significant challenges in reaching a truce deal, raising concerns about hostages as the Ramadan deadline for the 10th of March comes closer.
Israel-Hamas conflict entered its 150th day. On Sunday night, Israeli forces operated for 6 hours in Ramallah during their biggest raid into the city in years. During the raid, Israeli forces arrested 2 wanted individuals, interrogated several other suspects. Amid escalating tensions, both Israel and Hamas are facing significant challenges in reaching a truce deal that also raised the concerns about the hostages. However, providing a ray of hope, a Hamas official said that the truce is possible if Israel accepts their demands. Hamas delegation arrived in Cairo on Sunday for latest round of ceasefire talks on Gaza. Mediators, US, Qatar and Egypt are struggling to work out a truce plan before March 10th. Reportedly, envoys of these countries also arrived in Cairo for a meeting with the Hamas officials on a ceasefire deal. However, Israel boycotted ceasefire talks after Hamas rejected its demand for a complete list of alive hostages.
There is still fragile optimism about the ceasefire deal being able to be reached by both sides. The objective is for that deal to be reached by the 10th of March, by the start of the holy month of Ramadan. That is the time frame placed. We know from the United States that Israel has basically agreed the framework of this ceasefire and what it would look like. That is according to US officials involved in the negotiations, saying that Israel has more or less accepted that framework.
US Vice President Kamala Harris on Sunday called for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza and pressed Israel to increase the flow of aid to ease.
There must be an immediate ceasefire. for at least the next 6 weeks, which is what is currently on the table. This will get the hostages out and get a significant amount of aid in. This would allow us to build something more enduring, to ensure Israel is secure, and to respect the right of the Palestinian people to dignity, freedom, and self-determination.
This agreement would bring the first extended truce of the war, which has raged for 5 months so far, with just a week-long pause in November. Dozens of hostages held by Hamas would also be freed. Last week, US President Joe Biden said that the deal could be reached as soon as Monday. The aim is to have it in place in time to halt the fighting for the Ramadan Muslim fasting month. Even as the Israeli military stepped up strikes on Hamas in Gaza, humanitarian aid continues to flow into the enclave. The IDF claims 277 trucks carrying humanitarian aid entered Gaza. This is the highest number of trucks to be transferred in one day since the conflict began. Israel has reiterated that its war is with Hamas, not with the people of Gaza, as it continues to facilitate the flow of aid into the enclave. Aman Kumar Himanshu, DD India.
Haiti's government declared a state of emergency on Sunday following violent clashes in the capital Port-au-Prince that led to 2 prison breaks. In order to restore order, the government has imposed with immediate effect a curfew throughout the West Territory for a renewable period of 72 hours. An unknown number of prisoners escaped after armed gangs stormed into the main prison in Haiti's Port-au-Prince on Saturday. This comes after major gang leader Jimmy Cheritzia called for criminal groups to unite and oust Prime Minister Ariel Henry. The Australian government is hosting a 3-day special ASEAN summit from Monday in Melbourne. The summit marks the 50th anniversary of Australia becoming the association's first dialogue partner. 9 Southeast Asian leaders were due to take part in what is billed by the local media as one of the biggest diplomatic gatherings in Australia. Security has been tightened in Melbourne's Convention and Exhibition Centre. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Shehbaz Sharif has been sworn in as Pakistan's Prime Minister for a second term after 2022. India's Global Forum's annual investment summit NXT 10 is set to be held in Mumbai on Tuesday and Wednesday. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. Shehbaz Sharif has been sworn in on Monday as Pakistan's 24th Prime Minister. This is the second time that he's taken oath as Pakistan's Prime Minister after 2022. Shehbaz's just formed coalition government now faces several challenges, including economic doldrums, which his coalition partner Bilawal Bhutto Zardari labelled as a tsunami of unemployment, inflation and poverty. More in this report.
मोहम्मद शहबाज शरीफ सिद्क़े दिल से हल्फ उठाता हूँ सच्चे दिल से हल्फ उठाता हूँ कि मैं मुसलमान हूँ.
Shehbaz Sharif took oath as 24th Prime Minister of Pakistan on Monday. President Arif Alvi administered the oath to Shehbaz Sharif in a ceremony held at the President's residence in the afternoon. Pakistan People's Party Chairman Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, whose party is part of the coalition government with PMLN, sought cooperation from opposition to overcome the country's economic crisis.
पाकिस्तान जिस खतरा में है, मैं समझता हूं कि हम एक बहुत ही खतरनाक मरहले पे पहुंच चुके हैं. ये महंगाई, गुर्बत और बेरोजगारी का जो सुनामी पाकिस्तान के अवाम उसकी तकलीफ में है, वो हम सब की तरफ देख रहे हैं कि हम उनको इन मुश्किलात से निकालें.
Election in Pakistan was held on February 8 this year. However, delay in election results triggered accusations that the vote was rigged. Imran Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party says attempts were made to alter the poll results. Shehbaz Sharif-led Pakistan government faces numerous challenges, including skyrocketing inflation, unemployment, debt burden, among others. Around 40% of the population lives below the poverty line, while inflation has skyrocketed to more than 30%. Pakistan faces a looming debt payment crisis, with the central bank reporting $24 billion of external debt obligations due by June 2024. Further, the fall in the share price on the stock market and the local currency in the wake of the election reflects uncertainty about the prospect of political stability. In June last year, Pakistan faced the imminent threat of default, with foreign reserves plummeting to $4 billion, barely covering a month's worth of imports. Previous government of Shehbaz Sharif had managed to secure a crucial bailout package from IMF. In February, IMF said it looks forward to working with the new government on policies to ensure macroeconomic stability and prosperity. Pakistan also faces a deteriorating security situation, with a surge in attacks by outfits such as Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan and so-called Islamic State in provinces of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan. In another development, the Election Commission of Pakistan approved the nomination papers of Pakistan People's Party Asif Ali Zardari and Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf-backed candidate Mahmood Khan Achakzai. Residential election is scheduled to take place by March 9. Bureau Report, TD India.
Let's now take this up with Prabhu Dayal, former Indian Consul General in Pakistan, joining us this evening as our second guest on a second discussion. Good evening to you. Ambassador Dayal, what do you make of the future of Shehbaz Sharif and his government, considering the challenges that lie ahead? And these are not just economic; these are both political and security challenges as well, apart from the economic one.
Well, Gautam, first of all, thank you for having me on your show to discuss this extremely important matter. I think Shehbaz Sharif has taken over as Pakistan's Prime Minister for the second time amidst staggering economic, political and security challenges. And I think that these will keep Pakistan in turmoil for years to come. Well, Shehbaz Sharif himself in his first speech as Pakistan's new Prime Minister said that Pakistan is drowning in debt and that dozens of warehouses and factories are closed due to lack of electricity and gas. He also said that Pakistan is facing a budgetary deficit of more than 1 trillion rupees. And he asked how to pay the civil servants and how to pay the armed forces, because under such severe economic distress, I think everything is going to go haywire. And he also pointed out that the burden of debt paying was so colossal that the country was required to pay billions of rupees in interest only. So the economic situation is extremely grave. And in addition, as your own correspondent pointed out, the political situation as well as the security situation are also very bad. You know, we all know that accusations abound that the recent election was rigged. And 31 members of the US Congress had recently signed a letter to President Joe Biden urging him not to recognize the new government in Pakistan until an investigation into allegations of election interference had been conducted. So there is lack of public trust in Shehbaz Sharif's administration. And I think that effective governance and policy making will be hampered by a fractious sort of political setup, political unrest, as well as accusations of corruption. Now, your correspondent also mentioned the security challenges. This is very important because there is rising militancy in Pakistan. And the Shehbaz Sharif government will have to deal with the worsening security situation due to attacks by militant organizations like the Islamic State and the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. And particularly, you know, in the context of the rising tensions between Pakistan and Afghanistan. So things are not going to be easy at all. And I think there will be all kinds of diversionary tactics, but these will not work. Because by and large, I think the Pakistani people realize that the situation in their country is very grave and they are facing many challenges, including skyrocketing inflation, unemployment, energy shortages. So all this is making life very miserable for them, and things are not going to be easy for Shehbaz Sharif at all.
In such a scenario, if Pakistan falls back on the default option of certain tactics that it has employed in the past to take away attention from its domestic issues and somehow targets India, how watchful does India need to be?
Well, targeting India is a Pakistani habit. As it is, Shehbaz Sharif has somehow raised the Kashmir issue. And he said that the National Assembly of Pakistan should pass a resolution for the freedom of Kashmiris and Palestinians. So this sort of diversionary tactic will continue, and we have to live with it. But the fact of the matter is, we should just tell the Pakistanis bluntly that the Kashmir issue can only be resolved once POK is vacated by Pakistan and handed back to us. Because that is the only part of the Kashmir issue which is important and which needs to be resolved. But of course, Pakistan will keep playing the Kashmir card here and there and trying to divert attention from the miseries which the Pakistanis are going to be facing in the months and years to come.
Right. Ambassador Prabhu, thank you so much for joining us and talking about this situation. Well, India, in any case, needs to be watchful because Pakistan is just one crisis away from losing complete stability, and that would not be good for the entire region, not to speak of the entire world. Thanks again for joining us. Now, India Global Forum's annual investment summit NXT 10 will be held in the financial capital Mumbai on the 5th and 6th of this month. The summit will have the best minds from diverse fields as they converge to discuss why India is a beacon of global optimism and share their strategies for businesses to navigate this dynamic landscape over the coming decade and beyond.
As India continues its march towards becoming the third largest economy in the world, India Global Forum, under the theme Next 10, will be exploring the next decade of nation's growth. Leaders including India's Home Minister Amit Shah, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal will address annual investment summit. Next 10 will also convene top figures from the world of business, politics, art and culture from 5th to 6th March to discuss what the next 10 years beckons for India's economy and geopolitical standing. In a session titled What Analysts Get Wrong About India, Union Minister Amit Shah will articulate his views on narratives that often dominate Western headlines about India's growth, politics and society. Minister Piyush Goyal will speak about his experiences of Mumbai as a global gateway and share his vision for the city of dreams over the coming decade. Other prominent personalities joining the summit include Maharashtra's Deputy Chief Minister and Industries Minister Devendra Fadnavis, who will be taking on Maharashtra's economic landscape. The summit will also see Rick Ryder, Managing Director and BlackRock Global Chief Investment Officer of Fixed Income, who will offer insights into the global investment landscape, providing attendees with valuable perspectives on navigating the complexities of international markets.
And still to come on DD India News Hour, the OPEC Plus has agreed to extend oil output cuts of 2.2 million barrels per day into the second quarter. And both women and men's Indian table tennis teams make history, qualify for the Olympics for the first time ever. India that invents. India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibility. Teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday, 8 p.m. only on DD India. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, after a purported call recording of a German military and armed forces discussing plans to strike Russian territory, the Kremlin on Monday questioned whether German Chancellor Olaf Scholz is in control of the situation. In the alleged call, German officers were heard discussing weapons for Ukraine and a potential strike by Kyiv on a bridge in Crimea, prompting officials to demand an explanation. Earlier on Monday, German Ambassador Alexander Graf Lambsdorff was summoned by Russia's foreign ministry after Russian media published the audio recording. Germany has rejected the claims, calling them propaganda. Nepalese President Ramchandra Poudel administered the oath of office in secrecy to 3 newly appointed ministers. Padam Giri from the CPN, Hid Bahadur Tabang from the CPN and Dol Prasad Aryal from the Rashtriya Swatantrata Party took the oath of office in secrecy. Members of the coalition of the world's top oil-producing nations, that's OPEC Plus, have agreed to extend voluntary oil output cuts of 2.2 million barrels per day into the second quarter on Sunday. Saudi Arabia, the leader of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, said it would extend its voluntary cut of 1 million barrels per day through the end of June, leaving its output at around 9 million barrels per day. The move is a part of the group's perpetual balancing act to stabilize oil prices by reducing supplies. In November last year, Saudi Arabia, Russia and several other OPEC Plus countries announced voluntary production cuts totaling about 2.2 million barrels per day for the first quarter of this year. The 5th edition of a joint military exercise Darham Garden between the Indian Army and the Japanese Ground Self-Defense Force is underway at Mahajan field firing ranges in Rajasthan. Scheduled from the 25th of last month to the 9th of this month, the exercise is an annual event alternately held in India and Japan. The aim is to foster military cooperation and enhance combined capabilities for joint operations in semi-urban environments under Chapter 7 of the United Nations Charter. The exercise emphasizes physical fitness, joint planning, tactical drills and special arms skills. And it's time now to get some sporting updates as well. Now, the India men's and women's table tennis teams have made history on Monday as both the teams qualified for the Olympics for the first time ever on the basis of the world rankings. Despite losing their quarterfinal games at ITTF World Table Tennis Championships that were held in Busan, both the men and women's teams have secured their spots for the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. This will be for the first time that India competes in the table tennis team event at the Olympics since its inception at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. Cricket now, and New Zealand and Chennai Super Kings opener Devon Conway has been ruled out of the first half of the upcoming Indian Premier League 2024 season after suffering a thumb injury. The left-handed Conway, the player of the match in the IPL 2023 final against Gujarat Titans in Ahmedabad last year, suffered a thumb injury during the recently concluded T20I series against Australia at home. The 32-year-old was consequently ruled out of the ongoing 2-match test series. Conway is set to undergo a surgery this week. Ace tennis star, Olympian and Asian Games medalist Vishnu Vardhan, who's all set to participate in the 42nd edition of the Petroleum Sports Promotion Board, spoke about the importance of national-level tournaments in an exclusive conversation with DD India. The PSPB tournament will take place from the 5th till the 8th of this month at New Delhi's DITS Stadium. The event will witness the participation of Arjuna awardees and Olympians.
Ahead of the 42nd PSPB tournament, which is all set to take place in New Delhi, we have with us Olympian and Asian Games champion Vishnu Vardhan. A very warm welcome and thank you so much for exclusively talking to DD India. When we talk about events like PSBB, which are very much important for the nation, how important participation of bigger players like you becomes?
No, I mean, first of all, I would like to thank my parent organization, which is ONGC. They've been a pillar of support for the last 12 years, and one of the main reasons that I could achieve this kind of achievements that you've just spoken about in my career, and that is all done through the Petroleum Sports Promotion Board. So it's not just a tennis event; it's a celebration of tennis across different organizations, and showing that they are the pinnacle of support for all the sportsmen. So all the top players are over here, and it's going to be a highly competitive event. At the same time, we want to give our best for our own organization. This is the 1 week that we play for them. So very excited, and hope we end up winning for our company.
It is very important to play for the organization and strengthen your roots also. But at the same time, how much of a help you are getting from such sort of events for your international tournaments?
Absolutely. The organization has been supporting not only that we are a part of the payroll, but also they take care of our equipments, for our training, medical facilities. There are a lot of other things, and then events like these will make us better prepared for the forthcoming tournaments. I have an ITF event in Delhi and Chandigarh right after this, so it will be a great preparatory week for me, since I'll be playing in the same conditions. So I hope to be a lot more sharper for these international events.
All right. Thank you so much for talking exclusively to DD India, and we wish you all the very best.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So there you heard Olympian Vishnu Vardhan, who talked about his participation and how much it is important for all the athletes to represent your nation as well. This is Deepika Iyer reporting for DD India, New Delhi.
And the tennis ace also urged the youth who are first-time voters to come out in large numbers and cast their ballot when it comes to the general elections in India that are coming up very soon.
Vardhan, I'm a former Olympian and Asian Games medalist. It's very important that you come out and vote. As a first-time voter, change is in your own hands. So I appreciate everyone to come up and take this initiative.
And that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X as well as Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.